What if I told you how one app played a key role in pioneering a subgenre of music that would go on to become a staple and pave the way for artists we all know and love today? Around mid to late 2010s, artists like Lil Peep, XXXTentacion, Lil Uzi Vert, and many more cultivated a unique blend of lyrical themes and vocals most commonly found in emo music, mixed together with elements of hip-hop, thus creating what we all know as today, emo rap. While this subgenre has garnered a dedicated following since its rise and is widely praised for its vulnerability and relatability to listeners, even some mentioning how it's helped them deal with their own problems. However, there's still an uglier side of this form of music that runs deep into a person's psyche that ends up causing more harm than good. And today, I want to explore these topics. With all that being said, let's dive into the ugly side of emo rap. Before we get into the surface level problems and even the deeper level problems of exactly how rap music, specifically emo rap, can actually affect people, it's first important to get to the appeal. I would say a main reason and what actually brings us to emo rap is the lifestyle. Now we know exactly right, this kind of applies to all rappers, but specifically emo rap, it feels like it's more well known that they're living the fast life, pretty much just messing around with a lot of people, always going on tour, irregular sleep schedules, no security really, right? Because it's obviously they're a musician as opposed to a 9 to 5. So as we can see right from the common person, you and me watching this, right, we have normal lives compared to rappers. And I think it's just with anything, right, whether it's celebrities, actors, or in this case rappers, which we kind of gravitate towards because it's a different way of living. Whether it's something that you agree with or not, it's something that at the very least it's appealing. Not only do we see this in the way they're living, but of course the way they dress. Obviously, a lot of the rappers in this genre, dreads, face tats, and a lot of piercings. They look different. All right, they look pretty much significantly different from the common person. And I think that just attributing this along with the other points that I listed, it's no wonder why we have an appeal. Even if it's something that we don't agree with 100%, even if it's something that we don't even want to live ourselves. Some people glorify it, but some people even know that, hey, this is something I don't want to do, but I'ma still look regardless because it's different. Along with the lifestyle, another appeal that I see is the fact that essentially they're a translator for their emotions. Emotionally, what is music at the core of it? It's emotions. It's emotionally charged. And for a lot of people, right, they might not have the emotional intelligence to even recognize their own emotions nor deal with it. So for someone to pretty much come in the picture and basically describe every emotion they've ever felt, whether it's a breakup, disappointment, happy, sad, whatever feeling it is, these rappers have touched on it. Now, obviously, in this case, we're talking about more sad, somber emotions. And because they're able to help translate their own feelings, what brings them, right, just in general, right, whether it comes to marketing or anything, what is a good appeal that people love to, fall for? It's vulnerability. It's the emotional. And obviously with, emo rap being about sad, feelings that pretty much the common person obviously deals with, but most likely doesn't even tell anybody. It's like a little safe space. It's a little safe blanket that they can put on at any moment. If something goes wrong that day, they got fired from work, they got rejected or anything, they can turn on the music and know that there's someone out there, that one artist that understands how they feel. And this emotional authenticity is what promotes this allure and, can even promote the person to even follow them and follow their whole career all the way through and, eventually really fall into this genre. The main catalyst for it to being an appeal, especially now in this generation, is because of how many great artists have actually came from the genre. Obviously, we have the founders of this. We have the Lil Peeps, the X's, the Juice WRLDs. These artists laid down the foundation for this generation. You go to pretty much any comment section now, at least that I go to personally, and I always see a lot of Juice WRLD 999 or, an X profile picture, a Lil Peep profile picture. You see these different artists. The influence is real. And who are we influencing? Who is this audience targeted towards for this emo music, right? It's the youth. And obviously the youth being, Gen Z, and even at this point, even Gen Alpha. It's like, whether you even like it or not, whether you actually, listen to this type of music or not, it's pretty much already in the staple. And this is even, at least I've personally seen, this is already transcended past just music. Obviously, if you go to a music channel page, you're more likely to see a Juice WRLD 999 fan account. Now I'm even starting to see it more in streamers and just any other form of media outside of music. So at this point, I think that we can already see that this is something that's going to be staying for a while, even with this genre of music being a staple in today's society. And while there are some benefits of it, it allows you to connect with the artist on a deeper level. It allows you to even connect with your emotions on a deeper level and, develop that emotional intelligence. But I still do think there's a dark side to this, rather, I should say an ugly side to emo rap music that not only affects you on a surface level, but on a deeper, more internal way. Breaking down exactly what we are listening to. Now, I think the mental diet is important, what we consume on a daily basis, not just in a physical sense, but also on a mental is also important. And when we look at the music and just what it contains, right, it contains a lot of just sadness, a lot of, toxic habits, a lot of, crazy lifestyles that, quite frankly, like I said, there's an appeal to it, but it's something that we might not even really want to live ourselves. And also even death, right? There's been on multiple occasions, not even just on music, but on interviews, in documentaries, and just other clues of these rappers, specifically emo rappers, dying young. Obviously, we know the trio, Lil Peep, X, and Juice WRLD's death, but I also think that there's this kind of eminent wanting to die sentiment kind of in this area, that I think that if you constantly listen to this, especially in these moments where your subconscious mind is the most open, if you listen to music directly after you wake up or even before you go to sleep, your subconscious mind is open, right? This is the most open it's going to be. So when you consume this music on a constant basis of death, drugs, not feeling, just feeling trash pretty much throughout the day, I guarantee you, if you were to listen, right, let's say Juice WRLD, you pick Juice WRLD. If you listen to Juice WRLD all night while you sleep, you have the music on playing in the background, I guarantee you by like a week in, not even a week, you probably can go a few days, you're going to be feeling bad. You're going to feeling just more negative emotions. It's because of the music. Not only that, we can talk about the frequencies and get in all that, but that's a different discussion. Not only is your subconscious mind and pretty much your thought cycles are, altered at this point, but you start to develop this, dependency on the music. Whenever I feel like you lack the self-talk, the emotional intelligence to even, talk to yourself, similar how you go to video games, watch TV, eat junk food to deal with these emotions, you pretty much use music as an escapism tool. And instead of actually being able to formulate your own thoughts and sentences and figuring out a way how you can actually, improve your emotions, you pretty much just stick with listening to it. Essentially, you're using the music as essentially like a translator for that. And instead of, cultivating your own thoughts and emotions off of it, you're rather your own line of thinking, you're relying on someone else who doesn't even know you exist, right? And I think it's one thing to realize that, sure, they can share the same feelings, but at the end of the day, it's different experiences, and that when it comes to dealing with the emotions, it's only you that know deep down, like not even on no corny stuff, that know the answers. And when you start getting attached to this music and this starts to become your second nature, what are you constantly being exposed to? You're getting exposed to toxic habits, toxic ways of living, lifestyle, partying, drugs, extensive drug use at that, especially, the founders, I would say, of this emo rap. You're constantly surrounding yourself around this. And what happens, right? Similar how when you are with your friends, right? If you are pretty much, if you're the sum of your 5 friends, whatever that quote is, it's kind of the same thing I would even say with your mental diet and what you consume. If you constantly consume Juice WRLD, X, Trippy Red, you just, these big artists, this emo rap, you're going to constantly be surrounded by that. And I'm not necessarily saying that if you listen to, Juice WRLD one time, you're going to be drinking lean or anything. But I think that it will, kind of slowly open the gate over time of just, maybe allowing certain things and kind of, using it as your identity in a sense, kind of using this music to patch up any holes that you have in your identity that you don't like with the music, thus associating it in a sense with the artist and even the influences in which they're talking about. One deeper problem that I see a lot going on with, people who specifically listen to emo rap is kind of this notion that, it's okay to essentially take responsibility away from the person because they're sad. Now, don't get it twisted. Obviously, your emotions are your emotions. I completely understand that. I'm not saying that you can't be sad, but I think the notion is that oh, I'm sad, so therefore any action that I take, whether it's even, drug use or, just erratical actions that you normally wouldn't take, they start to become excused in a way because, oh, I'm just sad. I'm just sad. And, it's the emo music. This as well. I'm constantly surrounding myself around it. And I understand that in some situations that the music can actually be more so of a symptom as opposed to actually the problem. But I do see this a lot where it seems like it's, pretty intertwined. And I just don't like how it continuously takes responsibility away from the person. It almost makes it seem like you just can't experience any happiness whatsoever. If there's a sliver of chance that you could be happy, you immediately shut it down by listening to some music. Even if it's on a bright sunny day. There is some people, right, who on a bright sunny day, the trees are looking nice, the wind is blowing, it's blue skies, and they put on some Juice WRLD. I think that this kind of on a further level can actually, make the person feel a little bit unworthy of feeling happy, because if all they feel is sadness, right? If all you're feeling is negative emotions and, you're pretty much going through the motions all the time through life, the moments you actually can feel happy and, pretty much prompt to, you won't let it happen because on a deeper level, oh, this isn't the norm. The norm is me feeling this low baseline. I'm not able to feel, happy. Having this mindset, that I feel like is the most dangerous mindset you can have just in life in general, but just having this, it is what it is. I contracted this, negative emotions from the sad music that won't allow me to live my life the way that I previously lived it before or that I want to live it now. It is what it is. I guess it is. It's whatever, man. I'm just another casualty in the war. That is the lamest way to live. The last thing in which I actually have a lot of personal, experience in terms of noting whenever I did listen to this music was the identity, right? The identity is obviously an important part. I mean, a crucial part to how you live your life. It's pretty much the way that you view yourself. If you view yourself as someone who's low value, well, guess what? You're not going to go, and try to experience the high value things in life. You're not going to try to go after it because you view yourself as lower. And obviously, pretty much you can see the theme of this whole entire video is that this music, it promotes more so negative, self-loathing, pretty much identity form. And what this does, right, is on a much deeper level, constantly listening to it and surrounding yourself around it is gonna perpetuate this negative cycle. It's gonna perpetuate the negative identity. And it sucks because a lot of people are not even really conscious of this. Because if you're not conscious of it, it's gonna do it subconsciously. You're gonna start to view yourself and start to view the world a little bit differently because of this, right? For example, a huge example that I even noted, right? Now, me personally, I don't necessarily have a top 5 right off the gate, but I know that Goodbye and Good Riddance by Juice WRLD, that is one of the greatest albums. I'd probably say a top 5 album for me. And like I said, I don't even really have, a whole list really set out, but I just know that's like top 5. But even then, I had to dial back and stop listening to it because I started noticing it was affecting my self-image and how exactly I could go chase after my dreams and just my day-to-day life. A prevalent example of this that I instantly knew, when I experienced this, I knew that this music had a little bit more power than I recognized. So it was around 2020. This is around when Legends Never Die dropped, and obviously when that dropped, I listened to that, and while I was there, I ended up listening back to his Goodbye and Good Riddance, a little bit of Death Race for Love, kind of just reminiscing on his catalog. And that was in 2020. It wasn't until April of 2022. I remember one day I was feeling down, right? I was feeling down. I was out in public, and I legitimately instantly had this just desire to listen to a particular song by Juice WRLD. I put it up on the screen. I forgot the name of it. But I had the desire. I just wanted to listen to that track and that track only. I didn't care about the conversation I was having with my friend. I didn't care about anything else. I just wanted to listen to that music. And I did. Right, when I listened to it, it felt like a blanket to my brain. I instantly felt comfortable. And I would probably say from, April of 2022 to maybe even 2023, I noticed that my life altered kind of for the worst. So the way that I noticed this is because looking back on it and exactly what triggered, something triggered an emotional response, triggered my brain. And when it triggered my brain, I instantly wanted to go to this one particular song. I would say from, that point on, I kind of had this identity of this person who was successful, but was kind of just shunned away from society. Kind of just that one person that lives on the very top of the mountain, but, is kind of just like alone. That's how I kind of pictured my life and kind of based my identity on for the last maybe few years. And it wasn't even until really like this past maybe few months where I'd done some more introspection and realized, okay, deconstructing this, where did a lot of these thoughts come from? Where did I get all of this from? And I realized that it was through the music. It was through the Juice WRLD, the X's and the Lil Peeps that I realized that, oh man, this music was really affecting me on a way deeper level than I thought it was. I thought it was just some innocent little music, but when I really dug down, I realized that, man, this is kind of holding me back, right? If I want to be successful in life, which I know I am, I can't be, constantly listening to X and Juice WRLD in my room. I can't. I got to be having a better perspective. I got to be having a more abundant filled mindset. And I just don't think that this music promotes that mindset, sadly. I say sadly because on one hand, it is kind of like, like I said, it's relatable music. It's good music. I'm not going to lie. It's not terrible. But it's just one of those things where it kind of feels almost like a sacrifice of, hey, I think there's a time and place for it, but I don't think it's something that you should necessarily identify with and constantly, feed your brain. Instead in the morning time listening to Juice WRLD, I now listen to morning affirmations. I listen to frequency music at nighttime. I do these little things that seem insignificant. Obviously there's no real music to them, right? But these are powerful things. At the end of the day, right, it's perspective based. What I think, let's say, for example, and I said this in previous one, but if we go on a trip together, right, we go to Paris. If we go to Paris and we experience the same exact thing, right, we go out in the river walk together, we go see the Eiffel Tower, we do all these things together. By the end of the trip, we can come back collectively and discuss about it, and what you might find significant is something that I might have forgot about. Because we value different things. We have different perspectives, even though we went through the same exact thing. So it's the same thing with music. And I feel like if you, kind of realize that, hey, look, you can listen to this sometimes, but I need to dial back on it. The words here, at least be a little bit more conscious of it. Obviously, there's some songs where, it's not as bad, but then there's some where it's like, all right, for example, tell me if you guys do this or not. Maybe this is a weird thing, but anytime I listen to Juice WRLD music and he talks about death, I instantly mute it really quick. And then I go back listening to it. Really, just a really weird little thing I do, but it's because now I'm conscious of how this can affect my line of thinking. And I think if you just have this in mind, I think you can kind of realize that, hey, it was a fun little thing. It was a fun little chapter in my life to, continuously associate myself, the Bart Simpson sad edit memes, right? That was a whole chapter. But There's better things now. And because I love myself, I'm not going to continuously expose myself to this. And we're just going to move on to better days. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Look, for the real ones I've been there, I know it's been forever. I think it's legitimately been like 4 or 5 months. Terrible. I can't let that happen. But this year I'm putting my head down and working. No more making promises, mainly because I be fumbling. Last year I did a lot of them, but I'm just going to keep my head down, lock in this year and really work. I can't wait for this new chapter, this new rebrand as well. And I really hope that, you guys can see the hard work that I'm putting in behind the scenes, and, hopefully it can show. If you're interested in watching, I did dissect subliminals as well. So if you're interested in checking that out, I recommend that one. Thank you guys so much. Peace.